Hi, welcome everybody. We have a Quick Hits 101 webinar today. Cam Ballard is going to be our presenter. I'll hand it over to him in a second, but first, just a couple of housekeeping items. You have a control panel over on the right where you can click on the questions tab and enter any questions as we go. I'll be answering those. My name's Elizabeth, but if there's any questions that we can read out at the end and have Cam answer for us, I'll save some for that. So feel free to drop those questions. And then the other thing to note is that we are recording this webinar today. So if you need to drop off for any reason, you'll be getting the recording and the slides in an email in the next day or two after the webinar. All right, let's turn it over to Cam.
Awesome, thanks Elizabeth. So welcome everyone. So glad to have you here today for our quick hits. We're going to kind of run through these. There's about 60 slides to go through, but I think it's really great. We're going to start off with the race setup. Kind of what do you see when you first start setting up your first race? Or if you set up races before, how does that look? We're going to go through the race dashboard, just some of the big highlights there that you need to take note of to really make your race more effective and really bring your voice to the event out. We're going to talk about the race website, how to put your branding, your message out there for the world to see. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the email builder as well. So getting started with the race setup, we're going to talk about the race wizard. But before that, how you actually start creating your race, there's a few ways you can do it. You'll see all across our website on runsignup.com. You'll see right at the top, create a race. You'll also probably see it in some of the body of those pages. So you can click right on there and that will put you into the race wizard. You can also, once you're logged in, you can go over to your profile tab in the top corner and you can go down to My Races. When you click that, you'll see the little button for create a new race. So you can click that and it'll take you to the exact same place. So once you do that, you'll see here step one of the race wizard. This is going to be the race basics. You can see here you're going to put in the name of your event, give a quick description about it. The best thing to know about a lot of this is that you can always come back and make changes. So don't feel like if you say the best 5K ever and you want to change it to the second best 5K ever, you can always come back and make those changes to the title, to the race description, add things. If you see a typo or misspelling of any sort, you can change that later down the road, even after the race is live. So don't feel like you need to do all of that right now. If you're not quite sure, you can always put something and come back to it. You'll see here, it's going to ask you for the type of event. This is where you can just select your type. You see run, walk, virtual race challenge, nonprofit event. If you are doing a virtual event, this is where you would click that this is going to be a virtual race. If it's a walk only, maybe it's a walk for a local nonprofit or charity, you would put that walk, and that just determines how people can search for it on our race calendar. That doesn't mean that people necessarily won't be running or skipping or having a good time at your event. So you're not limiting anyone. Obviously, you can see some of the bikes, the triathlons, duathlons, really give your event that clarification. Oops. You'll see here, you'll be able to put the location. So you have to use a real zip code, but for things like a virtual race, you can actually put anywhere or everywhere for the address. You can even put a little bit more descriptor in there. So if you wanted to say 300 Mill Street next to the railroad tracks, you could. The zip code, though, does have to be a real zip code that we can reference. Also, one thing to take note of is make sure that your time zone is correct. So if you're running in the Pacific time zone, you want to make sure you mark that on the time zone chart. Then you'll be able to create your race URL. We'll start the beginning of it, that runsignup.com/race, your state, your city, but then you get to customize that last part. So you can see it says the best 5K ever. That's just pulling in straight from your title. But if you want to make any changes to that, shorten it, lengthen it, that's up to you. You can completely customize that yourself. We do suggest some things like never use anything like a year. You wouldn't want to say the 2023 or the 2024 best 5K ever, because that's going to really limit it to this year. So 2025 comes around, it won't be the same effect in that URL for you. Another thing is probably not to put the first annual, fifth annual, because you'll have to constantly make those changes. So having something very simple, basic, that kind of sums up the entire event without putting those qualifiers in is our best practices there. You can build that short URL later. So in the dashboard, you can actually go in and say runsignup.com/the best 5K ever. And if that's available, then that can be your shortened URL that you can share on marketing and things like that. You don't have to always have the race/state/city before everything there. You can also bring over a custom domain. So if you have the best5kever.com, you can bring that over, or we can do a subdomain like the best5kever.com/register. So from then you'll see the processing fees. How do you want those handled? Do you want processing fees paid by the registrant to come out of the charge, or do you want to half those between the two of you? Most races choose to have the processing fee paid by the registrant, so they are used to that, but you have the option right there to cover it or split it. For gender options, we do have those flexibility options there, so you can allow for non-binary or prefer not to say options when they're going through and selecting that. There's also a section in the dashboard where you can actually say if you want to even collect that information at all. So that's completely up to you if you want to have that information there. You can see how it would show up there when they're typing in their name. You can see Bob, then it says middle name there. If you wanted that, you would have last name, date of birth, and then you can see right there where they can put their gender. We do have this little question box that shows up. So if you have male and female only, this little question box shows up with the little text box so that they can understand why there's not a non-binary answer, and maybe alleviate some of those questions people might have about that. You can also import your timer or select who your timer is going to be. If you don't have one, that's fine. You can always skip over it. When you're filling out the wizard, if there's not an asterisk next to the category, you don't have to fill that portion in. But if you do have it, it's best practice to go ahead and put that information so that it's there available. It's also can be added at a later time. So if you're searching for a timer, we have some great timer search tools that we can help you find. Or if you know a local timer that's going to come out for your event, you can definitely partner with them right there. So also then you'll be able to choose what how your waiver is signed. So you'll be able to customize that. We do have a standard waiver that you can use, but if you'd like to add to that, or if you have a completely different waiver you'd like to include, you can delete ours and start over from scratch. That's up to you how you want to handle that. When you select the checkbox right up here at the top, you'll be able to say how they signed that waiver. Is it going to be a checkbox only? Is it going to be just their name, initials, name and date? So you have that flexibility. You can also say whether or not each person has to sign that waiver, or if one person can sign the waiver for everyone. So again, those are all options and choices up to you. For step 2, this is where you get to put a little bit more detail about each of those events. So things like if you have a 5K and a 1 mile fun run, or a 5K and a virtual option, you can really start saying, okay, this is what we envision for our 5K, this is what we envision for the other event. If you wanted to have more than one event, you'd actually set that up on step 1. So there's going to be an add event tab or a button that you can click, add that second event in, and then on this page, step 2, you would see all of those events listed out. So here we've got our 5K, it's a run and walk. We can put our start time, end time, what the distance is. That's very important because some people might be looking for a training 8K before they go off to like a half marathon or marathon. Some people are just getting started, and maybe a 5K might be a little intimidating, and they may search for a 1K. So lots of different options right there, or a 1 mile. If you are doing a hybrid event, this is kind of what that page would look like. Oops, I didn't realize the scrolling button was going to do that. I apologize. There we go. So if you are doing a hybrid event, you'll see the in-person option at the top. You've got your 5K run/walk, start time, end time, etc. And then you've got the virtual option right below that. And you want to make sure that you do select that virtual race challenge. That's going to unlock the virtual tools and the challenge tools that allow people to submit results, allows you to send out notifications and reminders about where to submit those results. Great tools come available for you. If you have any questions about that, we do have information on our page about what a hybrid event is and how to set those up individually. Race Wizard, step number 3. This is where you get to put in your pricing. So you have a few options as well here. The easiest, what most people use is those automated price increases. So you can see that they've started from October 1st to October 31st. They've got a $30 fee, and then that price is automatically going to update to $35 on the 1st at midnight, so that morning. Just key thing to remember is that days go from, in our system, go from 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. 12 a.m. does start that next day. So if you have any questions about that, we're happy to help you out with those questions. But that's one of the big things we see where registration might close down for a day. It was just a misunderstanding of how that system's working. So 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. You can see each race can have some additional registration options just below it. These aren't used all the time, but you might have a maximum number of participants that can be in a certain event. You might have age limits to a certain event. So you can set up all of those right there. You can also see that right there, which fields are required for race participants. These are going to be the required fields that show up that participants have to give you that information before they can move forward in the registration process. Step 4, giveaways. So if you're giving away t-shirts, hats, anything like that, especially if they need to choose an option, maybe red or blue or any of the t-shirt sizes available, this is where you can put in the description of the item, the dates that you're going to stop collecting those items. So if you needed to make that order 2 weeks ahead of time and you wanted to stop taking giveaway information at that point, you can tell the system to do so. If there's any taxability issues, you can select what taxable code it goes into, and then you can select all the different sizes there. Now, one thing to note is that the extra price would be things like if you had a $2 upcharge for a double XL or a triple XL, then you would put those there. If it's included as part of the event, then it's just going to be left blank, and that just allows them to select that option. Pardon me. So you can see here, this is step 5. This is going to be where you can start customizing the look and feel of your event. Some branding opportunities of adding your race logo. We do have some default icons, but it's always suggested if you can make your own race logo to really make that race uniquely yours and give us some distinguishing characteristics in the community. By adding your own personal logo, you can see that the pixel size there needs to be at least 200 pixels wide and at least 75 pixels tall. You'll see that most times when there's an upload image, you'll see what the pixel requirements are so that you can make those adjustments there. If you scroll down on step 5 a little bit more, you'll be able to upload that custom banner image. So the difference between the logo and the banner image, that banner image is going to display right at the top, be really prominent. You'll see some of the race information over top of that, or you can upload your own custom image that has its own graphics. Maybe that's kind of describing the date and you've got that interweaved into the logo and it looks really nice. You're of course welcome to do that. And then the race logo is going to be kind of up to the top corner. It's also going to show up on things like emails and some other places as people are getting communications from you. Was there one more thing? And then event display, you can see down there where you can hide the event start times. Most people, though, want to just make sure that the show event tiles on race page is clicked so that when someone registers for an event, that tile is sitting right there on top. Step 6, this is where you will create your payment account. So creating a payment account, or you can choose to use an existing payment account if you've already used us before. If you are creating a new one, you just click on the orange button that says create new payment account, and that will walk you through those steps of creating that. Payment account approval can take time if manual checks are needed. So make sure you start this process several days before you plan to open registration. So don't try to do this the Friday before the event starts or the Friday before you want to start having registration on that Saturday. It may not be approved in time for you. So we just want to make sure that we set those standards for you ahead of time. Go ahead and do it, a week, 2 weeks at least, or right as you start setting up the race. We do have some other options. Maybe you aren't the one with the payment account information, or you're not the one who's going to be setting that up. You can send instructions by email. You can see that's the first checkbox there. You can also choose to set it up later. Maybe you are the one that can set it up, but you just don't have the information right there in front of you, and you're ready to get started on creating and customizing that website. That's fine. We do have some options like that so that you can move forward. And you will see the error message at the top when you go into your dashboard, which we're going to cover next. That error message is just there to remind you that you need to go back and create that payment account so we can help you raise more money. And then step 7, the race wizard. This is just kind of your finishing page, but you will see a few things that we've recommended you to go to first. It's kind of the most overlooked features of our platform. You can see there you've got event insurance. So if you wanted to offer that, it's a very simple. You check one box and it offers it to your participants. Referral refunds. So if you wanted to encourage people to invite their friends and maybe give them some sort of reward or refund for bringing those people over, you can set that up right there. Incomplete email, this is a great feature. So if I start creating my registration, but I don't finish it, it's going to send me an automated email 1, 2, 3 days. You get to customize that to try to encourage me to come back and finish that registration. And then price increase emails. So as you have those price increases that we set up back on step 3, it can send out emails to your participants letting them know to encourage their friends to sign up before the weekend because prices are going up. Of course, you can uncheck them if you don't want them, but we really do think they are some of the most overlooked but the most impactful features that you could set up in your event. After that, you can save and finish, and then you see your visit your website or visit your race dashboard. For today's purposes, we're going to go over to the race dashboard here. So you can see here that you'll have one single sign-on, and that's just kind of the whole vision of our entire company. So your sign-on will work both on RunSignup, TicketSignup, GiveSignup, TrySignup, BikeSignup. You can see all of them right there. That way you don't have to remember multiple passwords, multiple emails. Some of you I know do have multiple emails that you use RunSignup for. Maybe one email is used as a participant for events and one email is used as a director of events. So you may have a few to manage, but most people have one sign-in for all of their activities within RunSignup, both participant and director, but you can split those out if you'd like. What's nice with that is if you have multiple directors on one event, you can change your password without it affecting anyone else's ability to log into the event. So that's a great opportunity for you there. Accessing your dashboard, once you're signed into your account, there's a few ways you can get to it. You can actually just be on your race. So you can be on your runsignup.com/city/state/best5k-ever. And right at the top, when you click your profile button, you'll see race dashboard as the first option right there. Another place you can get to it is just by clicking on that same profile icon, going down to my races, finding the race that's available to you that you're looking to edit or make changes to. You'll see the drop down to the right. You click that and you will see the race dashboard right there. You can kind of see what it looks like on mobile, and then you can see the video playing of what it looks like on a computer. So the dashboard anatomy. I'm sure a lot of you, like myself, when we first clicked onto our first dashboard, we saw all these buttons, graphs, all these different options, and we became a little bit overwhelmed. So we're going to work our way from top to bottom, kind of left to right, if you will. You've got the participant quick search on the very top right. This is a great way for you to be able to search for people individually, especially if they send you an email with a question or they need to make any changes to their registration. You can find them quickly and make those changes on the fly. The menu search on the far left, this is my best friend. Anytime someone asks me where they can find a certain feature, I type that feature in the menu search, it pops it right up and I can click right onto it to make those changes. One thing to keep in mind, if you're doing something like QR codes, it does need 3 letters. So you'll have to type QR space, then hit that C, then QR codes will pop up and you can quickly check on that. You can see you've got your registration breakdowns, how that all looks. You've got your total signups, the public site link right there. We're going to go over a lot of this in the next few tabs, so we'll just keep on moving forward. We talked about the search items right at the top. That's what they look like close up. Again, using that search by name, bib number, or email is a great way to find people quickly if they have any questions or any changes need to be made. On the dashboard menu, a lot of times we have to tell people to go down to this and make edits to their dashboard. We've kind of condensed what you see initially, but if you're someone like myself and you like to see all the options available to you, you can definitely go right down to the bottom where it says edit menu, click on the options, the eyeballs of what you want to see, and then save that, and then you will see those options show up on your dashboard as well. Obviously, if there's a feature that you never use, you want to go back in there and make sure that's hidden, just so that you're not clicking on any of the wrong information there. Dashboard data expansions. So along the way, you'll see a lot of drop downs with little arrow drop downs. All of those are clickable and usually do some sort of action. Here you see we can break down and see this year's registrations compared to last year's for each of the events listed for this event, the overall numbers total, how many registrations were in the last 30 days within the upcoming days. So lots of good resources, especially as you're getting closer. You can see what marketing efforts are working, where you may need to make some changes. Standard questions. So you can see in the bottom left-hand corner of each of these slides, you'll see where it's at in the dashboard. This is going to be under race, registration, and then under questions. Standard questions like emergency contact name, contact phone number, and a sign up for text message updates from the race. Those are just as simple as clicking a checkbox to turn those questions on. You can also ask custom questions. Those custom questions can be really about anything that you want to know about, any extra information. We have tons of different ways that you can have them answer, whether that's a text box, a drop-down field, checking different options, yes, no's. So we'll be happy to help you ask those questions and get the information that you're looking for. Participant display, this is just how participants are going to display. Are there certain fields and information data fields that you don't want to display to everyone? You can select and uncheck the options right there on that page. Participant management options, we have a lot of options for self-serve. So if you don't want to have to manage the day-to-day of changing things like t-shirt sizes, or if you're going to allow refunds up until a certain day without any questions, you can allow participants to manage any of these items up to a certain day. You can even change the parameters for each of these, but you can see some of the most used ones are things like refund management, event transfers, bib exchanges, deferrals, giveaway management and add-on management, team management. That's great for your captains if they need to make adjustments to it. Maybe someone can't make it, so they want to replace that person. Lots of great things that you can do within there. Event transfers, so just by clicking that, this is kind of an example of any of them, but this one particularly, you turn it on with that yes marker right there, and then you can tell the system, okay, when there's an event transfer, what's that processing fee going to be for that? Is it free? Is there a $5 fee for the event transfer? You can tell it what the cutoff date is. So from that day forward, you can still make changes to it. You're the director of the event, but they would have to contact you or reach out to you through the contact form on your race page to be able to make those changes. And then below that, you'll see some of the different options that will be available for you. If you have any questions on what tools are available for you in the event management or participant management pages, just let one of us know and we'll be happy to answer. Bulk participant management. So you can see these are available for things like refunds, deletions, race event transfers. Basically, you can copy and paste individual registration IDs directly into there, or you can see we have some quick fill options that you can select. This just makes it really easy in case you need to make any of those changes. You can do it all in one big swoop instead of having to go one by one by one. The participant report, this is where you'll probably find most of the information you're looking for, whether that's for a specific event or just overall information. If you're trying to grab all of your data to export it to, let's say, another customer service manager, you can definitely take it out of there and import it into any other system through a CSV file, and then change the different fields that are shown. So if you need to see things like t-shirt sizes or custom questions and the answers that each person had to those, you can make that export however you would like. What's great is that you can also save reports in here. And if you save one report and a co-director saves a different one, you know, they can save whatever reports are most important to them and how they want to see those reports. You can see here we're talking about searching and changing events. So you just search for the event that you want to have. You can see lots of different fields here. If you wanted to sort it by gender or to exclude a certain gender, you can do that. Bib numbers, you can do all sorts of drill downs within that participant report. Again, like we said at the beginning, you can also just search for an individual person right there at the top right. The participant report, you can have the report options to customize the view. This is where you'll add in those different fields, those different columns, things like t-shirt size, phone number, address, things like that that might show up. You can have all of those show up for your export. And then the export options, most people will use some sort of CSV, but we do have some other direct integrations over here, things like WebScore, MailChimp, build bib labels. So however you need to have that handled. Financial reports. So each of these, this is the summary page. So you just go into financial and then click on summary. You'll see your transactions, you'll see your refunds, the processing fees, all there. Each of these that are in blue are actually clickable. So if you needed to drill down to analyze any of those, you definitely can. You'll see the amount owed to the race, the amount that we've paid to the race, and then the amount that's still owed, the net owed right there. So it's just a really quick snapshot for you to see how your race is doing financially. And if you have any questions, you can definitely reach out to us. Enabling donations. So this is just under donations and then setup. This allows you to collect those donations on behalf of your charity or a charity that you're supporting. You'll be able to tell their story a little bit in the description. You can add photos, you can add their logo. You can also add custom donation levels to really encourage certain donor levels, especially if there's any sort of reward or benefit to them for donating at a certain level. You can highlight that either by the levels tab here or by putting that into the description. Coupons, again, this is just in the financial tab. So you go into pricing and then you'll see coupons right there. You're just gonna name your code. So maybe it's the Labor Day 5K special. And maybe it's a $5 off coupon. You'll secondly go over and put what that discount is. Is it a dollar amount? Is it a percentage amount? You'll then go in and say, what's the discount type? Is it an overall discount, etc.? You'll say when the coupon expires, when it starts. And then if there's any sort of restrictions and what it can be used for, you'll select those down at the bottom. Additional discount features, probably the most widely used, are the age-based pricing and the multi-person pricing. So you can see a lot of others, club membership discounts, multi-event discounts. Great for if you have multiple events throughout the day, you want them to sign up for many of them, you can do that there. You can pick as many of these as you want. Obviously, there can be an overwhelming effect if you start using too many of these, or people can't keep track of what the best discounts are. But one or two really targeted discounts can make a lot of difference in your registrations for the year. So we're just going to show you a little bit about the age pricing discount. You can actually display this right on your main tile. So when people go to your site and they want to do, like in this example, the starter ride, it can show them that it's $50, but for ages 8 to 11, that drops down to $30. For ages 12 to 17, that's $40. So you can have those different discounts listed out right there for you. You just go right into the financial pricing, age-based pricing, and then tell it to display that on the event tiles. And then you can see here where it would show again while they're in the registration path. It also highlights that there's special pricing. So a really great tool to encourage people to sign up as a family or to get those kids involved and being a part of your event for the future. So now we're going to talk a little bit about race websites. So with race websites, this really gives you a chance to customize your voice. What makes your race different than any others? There's no limit to how much information you can put on here. You can have as many different pages as you want, create as much custom content. We've got everything from adding quick YouTube videos directly to it, to Spotify and Apple playlist. Lots of fun tools that you can get involved with right here. And then you can customize the look and feel of that along the way. We're going to show you a few ways that you can showcase your brand along this crash course. So here you can see the race template. First thing you'll see in the race theme is where you can change the template of it, the color schemes, design and layout, really tone this into your branding. You can see here where you can have a vertical or a horizontal navigation. Most people choose the horizontal, but completely up to you how you want this to look and feel. One other thing to keep in mind is that all of our pages are already mobile optimized. So if I'm looking at it on my phone or a tablet versus my PC or computer, it's still going to look really good, and there's nothing else that you have to do in addition. It just already works for you, so that's a great feature for you. You can add some different social media feeds. You can have things like a tagline or a countdown clock to really build up that excitement as the event's coming closer and closer. Some other things you can do is you can change that logo. So remember, we changed that in the dashboard or the race wizard. So you can come here again and change that in the race theme. So if you didn't have it before, you can make changes here as well. You can also change that banner image. And you can see the custom banner image size. This is a pretty common question, is the 2000 by 800. You can also change the wording for race. So maybe your event's not a race, maybe it's a walk, and you want to make sure people know that. You can make those changes right there. Or if you have any other custom word that you guys use for your event, you can make those changes. We've got a lot of other places that you can make those changes to custom wording. So if you have questions about anything, let us know and we can point you in the right direction for those. Domains and subdomains, we talked about this a little bit with the URL. So if you wanted to bring your own domain, you definitely can. You can see here the Scott Coffee Run is actually using the scottcoffeerun.com. So they're not using the runsignup.com. The runsignup.com link will still work. It is still available out there in the internet, but this gives you a little bit more brand recognition. One thing to keep in mind that you may see is that if you use your custom domain, you might have to log back into your profile just because the cookies have not been set up. If you have questions about what that means, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to explain that in further detail, but just know that's not an error. You just might need to sign back into your account. This is where you can actually hide and customize the content. So you can see here, if I don't want the awards to show, I can hide those. I can show them in a draft mode. Maybe that's something just internally that the race directors need to see and not the entire public needs to see. That's fine. So you can change the visibility of each of those menu items or any of the sections within those. In the expand it more, we only have so much space that we can show things at the very top, so you'll see that more drop down, and that is where the rest of your menu items will hide or will be shown. You can change which ones go up top and which ones go into the more section. So if you have something that you really want to highlight, you can move that so it's always shown at the top of your website. And then we do suggest that you add a frequently asked questions tab. So a lot of races will get questions sent in from participants, from vendors, from sponsors, from timers sometimes even. And so having some of those answers just readily available will eliminate some of the calls and questions that you are getting from your participants. So it's always a great recommendation. If you have any questions about how to set up that frequently asked questions page, we've done an entire support guide about it. It's runsignup.com or help.runsignup.com/support/solutions. Sorry about that, tongue tied. So the event tile display options. We've really customized this and people are having a whole lot of fun with it. You can see here, this is a 5K whale event and they've got pictures of whales, they've got cartoon pictures of whales, they've got the real whales here and their tails on the actual website tiles that display for the event. So you can customize this for whatever you'd like to say. If it comes with a finisher beer and you want to highlight that, you can do it. If it comes with a really unique swag item that no one else is going to get for the other ones, you can highlight that right on your main page. So some really cool things that you can do with this. We're going to jump into the email builder. So the email builder, you can have unlimited emails with that. I think that's kind of a theme with RunSignup is there's really not any limits of how you can use this. You've got unlimited emails, unlimited contacts, unlimited historical data. So if you have past lists that you would like to download into this, you can definitely do that so that you can mark it out to those people as well. We do have some system generated event and custom contact lists. So if you have a 5K and a 1K, the system's going to automatically generate a list just for those two. So if you didn't need to send an email to the 1K participants, but you did for the 5K, you can do that very simply and easily. We've got professional, beautiful emails already available for you. There's a lot of templates already there for you. If you're like me, those are a lifesaver. But if you have your own templates and you'd like to bring those over, you can definitely do that. I like to use the personalized or the standard templates and then personalize them a bit myself and then save those as my own personal templates going forward. So that's a great idea for you as well. You can see here just some of the list, current participants, last year's participants, past participants. Again, you can customize and make as many of these lists as you'd like, and then you can see where you can include or exclude any of these on any given email you send out. We also have automated and custom emails. These are great, especially for things like we talked about before, the price increase emails, incomplete email registrations to send out those reminders for people. Those are great ways to do it. Also things like, don't forget to invite your friends to donate or to fundraise with you, or just sending out an email to the fundraisers to remind them to customize their fundraising page so that it's more engaging to their family and friends. Lots of different things that you can set up at the beginning, kind of set it and forget it, and let the system work for you that way. You can manually add contacts a few ways. One is by single entry. So if you just need to add John Smith, you add John Smith and his email, and he's in there. You can also do the CSV upload right there next to it and upload an entire list at one time. So that's completely up to you what works best for your system. And we'll be happy to kind of walk you through how that setup works if you have any questions. Using replacement tags, these are great. That way I don't have to type 100 different emails at one time. I can just say, okay, hello, first name, last name, send that email out. It keeps that personal touch going. You can also do things like have their individual registration ID code. Great email to send out. 2-3 days before packet pickup. That way people aren't searching through months of emails trying to find your confirmation code so that they can scan in using our check-in ID quicker. Email replacement tags, you'll see all of those listed out. You just click right here onto the replacement tag dropdown and you will see all the different options. So it's nothing that you have to memorize. You just click which one you want to have and then put that into the body of your email. Types of emails, we have transactional and marketing emails. This is great so that you can kind of keep track of it yourself. How many marketing emails are you sending? How many transactional emails are you sending? Transactional emails would be sent because of a specific action, pre-event details, post-event follow-ups, things like that. A marketing email is just that. You're marketing that event out either to current participants to invite friends and family, or you might be marketing it out to a past list from a former event to see if they're interested in coming to this next event. Default placeholders. So if you have a CSV file that you would like to upload, you can actually say what that placeholder is going to be. So first name, default value can always be friend, or you can say, you know, that's a great example there. First name is always going to be friend. So if you don't want it to be each individual's person's first name there, probably better if you don't know everyone's first name, maybe for a ticketed event, maybe not so much for a race event where you probably do know everyone's name. Email capture pop-up. This is a great tool to have turned on. Just shows up there when someone's on your site and they're maybe on the fence of signing up or not for the event. Little pop-up comes up and says, hey, are you interested in learning more? Of course, you can customize the length of time before that pop-up shows up and customize the information that shows up, the text there on the top. So some great ways to get more information from people so that you can feed them with some more info about the event, how many registrations are coming to it, maybe the charity you're supporting, give them more details about all that. How to save templates. So when you go in there, you'll create a new one right there at the top with that blue button. But once you've got a template that you like, you would just go in and save it. You'll see the big save button there. And that way it's available for any of your emails that you want to send out. You can also access saved templates from your dashboard and keep reusing. With pre-built emails, this is what I use a lot, is the ones that's already there, and then I'll kind of make those changes. So if you're like me and you're not as creative, this is a great place to start. Or if you just kind of want to test out the email system and see how this whole thing looks, great way for you to kind of see some of the top features there. The image gallery, we do have some images available, so if you don't have any of your own, lots of great images available to kind of highlight some different things, whether that's your turkey run or a nice summer day or a nice evening, to kind of reflect the type of event that you have. You can pull those in right there, and those are available for you for any of your emails. And that's all we have for today, and I'm sure there's been some questions, so I will let Elizabeth kind of run us from here.
Thanks, Cam. Okay, we just got one come in. If anybody has any questions and you want to type them in real fast, go ahead in that questions tab. So this one is there a replacement tag for a participant's team fundraising page? So if they wanted to email all their fundraisers with their specific fundraising page so that they can share that, is there a tag for that?
Yeah, so that's what I was talking about. When you have a fundraiser and you'd like to share out a quick email to remind them to go over to customize that, you could just rework that email, use the same replacement tag that has their specific link for their fundraiser, and instead say something like, use this link to share out to your friends and family. So obviously you can come up with the text of the email, but that's kind of the idea around that.
Yeah, definitely possible. We have a fundraising dynamic list that you can use as well. So you can email your fundraisers with that as well. I'll review a couple of the ones. I've gotten to some of these, but just for the benefit of everybody here. Is it possible to set up a relay option for your race, and how would you recommend doing that?
Yes, we actually have a lot of help guides and support guides that will walk you through that. It's something I meant to say at the beginning. We do webinars like this all the time, and you can obviously subscribe to be alerted for any of those that are coming up. But we have a great knowledge base that you can actually just search right on runsignup.com. You'll see the search bar or the search magnifying glass at the top. When you click that, you can actually type right in there. So you could type in relay, and you'll see the webinars we've done for that. You'll see any of the support guides that we have around that. But yes, you can definitely set up a relay. You can even have different legs of that relay, and people can indicate to you which leg of that relay they'd like to be a part of. So if you'd like more information about that, you can watch those webinars, or you can reach out to us and we can schedule some time with you to discuss that.
All right, a few more have come in. Can I send a test email to make sure that I've set up my email the way I want?
Yes. Yes, you can. You can definitely do that. One thing to keep in mind with the test emails that we're using test information. So some people will see something in there that they have questions about, or they're not sure if that would be a part of it or not. Just know that we're kind of sending you the perfect customer who's given you all their information and all of their data for you to reach out to them about. So if you have any questions about that, let us know. We'll be happy to kind of answer that one-on-one with you. But yes, you can send that test email and see how everything looks. And if you need to make changes, you can make those changes right there.
What is the best way to let participants know the cutoff day for swag shirts? So if they're cutting off when people can enter a size to get a giveaway.
Yeah, so obviously once you tell the system what that cutoff date is, it's just going to simply stop asking that question as they go through the registration path. So if you'd like to advertise that, we do have some different event display options. So right on the main tab or the main website, when your event tiles show up, you can actually put a little highlights, a little flag that shows up above it, and you can put something like giveaway collection ends X day. To really bring that home. You could also do a graphic. The banners that we showed you that you can set up, you can actually set those up as a carousel so that it continuously rolls to another image and then another image. So if you have something like that that you wanted to display, you could create another banner image up at the top, or maybe put some information down below that. You can always go in there and make changes to the description of the event. So if you wanted to highlight that a certain day was the last day for giveaways for the 5K, you go into the 5K description, make those changes, make it bold and bigger than all the other text descriptors below that, and then that will highlight it for them as well as they go through the registration path. So a few different options for you, but yes, that's how you would do it.
We got one question that was asking about moving saved emails from email marketing to email V2, and then we got another question about using replacement tags in the emails that fundraisers can send. So I just wanted to clarify that a little bit. So we have the old email marketing system, and then we have the new email marketing system, which is email V2 in your dashboard. So we recommend using email V2 moving forward. If you have an email in email marketing, you're never going to lose that. We're never going to completely shut it down so that you can't access your old emails, but we will at some point cut off sending out of the old email marketing system. So if you haven't switched over, you should. All that said, the fundraising email platform that we offer, where fundraisers themselves can send out emails, that's still on the old stuff. And eventually that will also probably get cut off, but we haven't put a date on that yet. So that's a different system. The replacement tags for that are different. You should reach out to your account manager and get some clarification on what tags will work with that system if you're doing the fundraising email option. Anything else on email that we should cover with V2, Cam?
I think you got it. Again, there's some great webinars. I believe you've been a part of a lot of those. To go back and watch about email V2. It's a very powerful system. There's a clear reason why we're moving over to it. Just gives you so much more customization. Also, the look and feel of it just looks a lot better, a lot more professional on mobile devices. And that's where most people are checking their emails anyway, is right on their mobile devices. It's probably where you saw most of your emails about this webinar coming through, was on your phone there. So, yeah.
All right, a few more, and then if I don't get to your question here, if we can't have Cam answer it, we'll reach out to you directly. But a few more. How can I find a report from last year of my participants or anything about my race last year if I've already posted next year's race date? So if I
no problem. So when you go into your participant report, or any of the reports for that matter, you'll be able to search for the various reports. Let me see if I can go back quickly enough to it. But you'll see a drop down at the very top. So where you may not see any data because no one signed up for the current year. Yeah, I think we're coming up to right here. you'll see the option for search and change event right at the top. So right here underneath your name, search change event, you'll see all of your previous year's event names right there. You can click on the overall event or maybe just the 5K or the 10K that was associated with it to find those reports in that data field. But yeah, great question.
Here's a fun question. So all of this is free to us. RunSignup is paid with the processing fees.
That's it. That's 100% it. So the processing fees that we have, that includes the platform fees and the credit card fees. So there's no need to go out and bring your own credit card or a Stripe or a PayPal. All of it's included on that processing fee, and that's it. There is no out-of-pocket cost to you as the race director. All of that's handled. So yep, everything you heard about today is completely free for you to set up. Yeah.
Can you expand a little more? I think you mentioned this, but on the text messaging option that we have, so the emergency texting.
Yeah, so the text messaging options that we have, there's a few different ones. So there's timer text messages. So people can actually opt in to say, yes, I'd like a text message, or they can say I'd like an email, or they can opt out of it completely when the timing results are uploaded and live. That's a great tool to have, kind of keeps people away from your timer booth. Your timer will love you for having that. They'll probably encourage you to turn that on. If your timer has questions about that, please have them reach out to us. We will be happy to walk them through that process on how to set that up if they have any questions. The other side of that is, like Elizabeth was saying, with emergency text messages. Those are great ways. So if people are, especially on like a larger 5K, 10K, 8K ultras, they may be going a lot further from the DJ booth or the main area, expo area. And so a microphone and a PA system is not going to reach them if there's inclement weather on the way, a tornado, flash lightning storm coming through, something like that. And so you may need to send out some alert that there's some sort of emergency, whether it's just seek shelter, get off the course, maybe the event gets delayed by a little bit. We've got a lot of tools available for you to make those alerts, both on the website, but the text message is another way for you to do it. So you could send out a quick text that says, hey, lightning on the course, please seek shelter. We'll resume racing in 10 minutes or so, whatever the case may be. So a great way for you to let everyone know that there's some sort of emergency going
on. If we have paper registrations, are we able to add those? Is there a processing fee for that?
There's not a processing for that if they're paying with cash or with check. So you can just manually import those registrations in there. You can upload a paper registration to it. Most people, though, much rather have a quick QR code that people can scan, sends them right over to the website. That way, everything can be handled digitally. You're getting all their answers. They're signing the waiver. Everything's handled digitally versus having to get a waiver signed, keep that waiver for the next 7 years. Lord knows when you need it, you're probably going to have a hard time finding it. And if you never need it, then it was just a complete waste of space in your garage or storage area. So a lot of people would rather prefer just have that QR code that takes people to the registration site, have them register with their phone. You could easily walk someone through it in the time that it would take you to walk them through a paper registration as well. So, yeah.
All right. So there's a few more questions. Some of them are kind of specific to specific races. So one of us will reach out to you and send you an email with the response to your question if you didn't get an answer just now. Thank you all for attending our webinar. And we will be sending out the recording of this in the next couple of days if you want to review either the slides or the actual recording. So if you missed part of the webinar or want to hear one of our responses again, you'll be able to do that. Thanks, everybody. Have a good afternoon.
Great to see everyone. Bye-bye.
Oh, you don't think I'll do it? Look, it's dialing, okay? So how about that? Hi, Bob? Yeah, I'm trying to do this thing with Brian, but he's just goofing off. He's got a mask on now, and okay, now the audience is here. Sorry, I have to. Hi, thank you all for watching that video. You caught us at kind of a weird time. I apologize for the immaturity that's happening on this side of the room, but appreciate having you here. Please subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to see future videos, you can click the notification bell and all. That'll get you alerts when we post new stuff. And if you enjoyed what you saw here today, please click that thumbs up button. Though if you don't, because of Brian's antics right now, completely understandable. We'll try to get this cleared up for next time. Yeah, I can't work like this, Bob.